Hey, what's going on there everyone? Welcome back to a new video. Before we get into the last plugin showcase here, I just want to say Merry Christmas to each and every one of you who do celebrate it, and a Happy New Year. This will probably be my last video of 2021 before the new year, so I'm going to take a little bit of a holiday break and just enjoy some time with family and friends and have a good time there. But I just want to say thank you all so much for almost getting 20,000 subscribers. That is actually insane. Thank you all so much for that. So I just want to say, everyone who has watched, subscribed, shared this video around with friends, I really do appreciate each and every one of you. So I just want to say that, and thank you all so much for that. Let's go ahead and dive into this plugin showcase. Alrighty here guys, so today's plugin is going to be on something called a rotating heads, and so the main command for this is just rotating heads, or you can just do R heads and then help. What I really like about this is it is a very visual plugin, so I will go ahead and demonstrate it right here. So if we do R heads and then a list, it's going to give you an example and a test, and then we can go put one right over here. So I'm going to head and actually do R heads, and then we can move here, and then we can do an example. Alright, so as we can see right here, it has a very nice interface, has some holographic displays. As you can see, my player school is spinning around, as well as we have some cool particle effects of a cloud, and it's going up and down. So very cool stuff. I actually really like this. So this is Rotating Heads Reborn, has included placeholders that you can put in the hologram, and you can even interact with it as well. As you can see, it does send a server message, so you can send multiple commands. You can have different actions run when players left click or right click, and I just think this is a very visual cool idea for any type of server. Honestly, you could really use this to make your server stand out, and I think it just looks really good, and it's very efficient and lagless for your server. So what I'm going to be doing is we can do R heads, and then we can do create. I'm just going to call this YT. Alright, so we have now created the YT head. As you can see, it's pretty it's just spinning very slowly. It just has a placeholder like, hey, Soul Striker. Alright, so that's pretty much everything we can do in game. You can just set up where you want the rotating heads, and then pretty much the rest of the part is in the server configurations. So let's go ahead and check those out. Alright, so before we dive into the config, this plugin does work on 1.8 through 1.18, and I recommend checking out their wiki that is listed on the Spigot page. So over here, this is where you're going to have most of your information. I do recommend checking this out. So what's really nice about this is that you can change the view distance from where you see the specific animation, as well as permissions. So you could actually set up a whole different ones based on whatever ranks you have on your server, which is pretty cool. And then you can of course adjust the size. In here you have your animations, so this is going to be the rotating one. You have up, down, and then stalking is basically just staying at the same position. If we go take a look at our configurations here, go into our plugins folder, and then if we go into the rotating heads down over here, we have our heads folder, and here is the example. So if we go ahead and open the example up, as you can see, here is the location it has, here is the permission and the distance. So here you can put in, the multiple animations, so it's rotating and it's bouncing up and down. Here's the specific speed and how many jumps it does take. So that is where your animations are going to be coming into play. So this is where you can change that, and you can see in examples of what it does, which is very helpful. So I'm going to be using the base 64 in my example, but here you can see the names and how often it is spaced. If we check at our config here, here's the name, the spaces, and here is the multiple lines. As you can see, here is the placeholder, so you can use the placeholders in here, and then of course you can have these very nice particle effects, and then in console it's going to say, hey, this is the specific thing, and then we can give a player a stone block. So very nice specific actions. So here's the particle effects that we just talked about, and you can have multiple in here as well, which is very nice. And of course the actions, you can do player, console, message, broadcast, give, and there's going to be more added soon. So very active developer. He's going to be adding a lot more features, which is fantastic. So what I'm going to be doing for mine, so I'm going to go back to the heads folder here and go into our YT, and here is just the base that it's set up here. So what I want to do is I'm going to change the player head into like a chest, and then we'll execute a command that will bring up like a daily daily reward system. So I am on this website, minecraftheads.com. I'm just gonna look up treasure, if I can spell it right. So treasure, look that up and see what pops up here. So I think I like this one. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm actually going to be getting this specific value. So this is what we need. So this is the base 64 value, and I'm going to copy this. So then looking at our config, we can basically use the same thing, except we're going to be changing this part. So we're going to be using base 64 equals, alright? So we can just change that. So base 64 equals, and then we can paste in that long code. So that is that specific skull texture. So if we actually save that, and let me move over to my game screen. We move over to my game screen here. We can do our heads and then reload. And that should change it to the treasure chest. So that's perfect. So that is exactly what we wanted. Now we can change the name and say like, hey, come claim your specific rewards from the daily rewards program. So I'm just gonna make it gonna make like a Christmas type thing, so I'll just say daily, and then we'll do actually we'll do 2, and then we'll say daily rewards, and I think that would be good for the title. And then we can say how many rewards that the player has. So I'm gonna say you have, and then now we need a placeholder of our timed rewards plugin, because that is the external plugin I'm using. So if we check on the spigot page, here's the placeholders, and I want the available number of rewards the player has. So essentially I'm just going to copy that, and I'm going to make that as &c, and we'll do the %, and then the rewards. So we'll just say daily rewards, and then I'll end it off with just a blank. So I think that looks good. Daily rewards, you have we'll say rewards left. Alright, so we'll say something like that. Save that content, and then we'll move over to my other screen, and let's go ahead and load again, and there we go. That actually looks perfect. It will have 5 rewards left. So as you can see, this is the progression that you can use when adding a daily reward system, or you can add whatever you want. So let me check on the actions. So here's player console command. So I'm going to actually run the player command. So I'm just going to copy this because it's already spaced out for us. Make sure we're backspace all the way, like so. And then that's perfect. So there we go. So we have the actions and then the player commands. So the player command is just going to run this rewards, and there's only one that needs to be run. So that's pretty much it. Make sure we save that content, and then we can go over to the game and reload. So if we right click, bada bing bada boom, we have our reward menu, and of course they can claim it. So now if we check again, obviously it does have a cooldown, so that is very cool. I really like that aspect of this rotating heads. It looks so nice, so interactive, and it's not even laggy whatsoever. So I actually think that just stands out so much on your server. Players can come and interact with various rotating heads. So that pretty much concludes my last video here for 2021. I hope you guys did enjoy. All the links are down in the description. Have a wonderful holiday. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.